Live from clickorlando.com, this is News 6 at 5:30. This is a News 6 Plus takeover. Here now is Solutionaries.
Hey everybody, I'm Lewis Bolden. You know, modern medicine is one of humanity's greatest achievements. We've been able to cure diseases, extend and save lives, and even stop global pandemics. But conventional medicine, like drugs and surgeries, don't always work or can come with painful side effects. That's why some people turn to alternative treatments. Today on Solutionaries, effective therapies that go beyond mainstream medicine. Let's start with the science of music and how it's being used as a tool to change the lives of children with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Let's talk. Let's talk about autism and Down syndrome and the brain and finding a way to make communicating easier. Is music the answer? Is it the key to helping a child break out of their shell, to blossoming? Maybe.
Maybe part of the solution lies behind these walls at the North Florida School of Special Education.
Ready to sing a little bit?
Music definitely just gives students a chance to be who they are, be who they're meant to be.
What's up, buddy?
Express themselves in a way that is really just remarkable.
What does music do for the students here?
Music, it really unlocks a different level to our students. To their social development, to their educational development. When you have a student that everyone has told you is nonverbal and is, oh, they're not going to sing in your class.
Ben, you ready?
And then you sing hello to them. And they sing it back to you. And you see kind of this look of shock.
Nice job, Benny boy, good work.
On their teacher's face, and you go, yeah, that's what music does for students.
How does music make you feel?
Happy.
How many instruments do you play?
6. 7.
Seven.
You tell Vic which ones you...
Which ones?
Piano.
Piano.
You play drums, guitar, violin, cello, and bass.
St. John Bargas's life revolves around music. He started lessons at 8 years old and is thriving. Now at 23, he plays with a group all around the area.
How has it helped him?
I think it's an equal playing field in terms of playing music. The fact that he's able to read music, he's just like any other kid. He has to practice. When he plays in the Jacksonville Symphony Youth Orchestra, he's just like any other student playing in the orchestra. It's an opportunity to be seen just doing what he loves to do, playing music, and that he is just like any other musician. And hopefully the world will be able to see that.
But why? What can music do that no other form of education can? What makes it so special and effective?
In our students with autism, there's this bundle of axons, which is called the arcuate fasciculus, and it connects the two sides of the brain. Okay, so on the one side of the brain, you have melody, and on the other side, you have rhythm and speech development. So with music, you have both of those things, and so you get kind of double bang for your buck. I don't want to get up on stage, to perform, but our students do. It's a level of confidence that increases. It's a level of fluidity in their speech that changes. Music is the foundation in that change.
Everybody?
And how could we forget emotion? This school plays to that by bringing in orchestras.
You guys are going to get a chance to string together a few different emotions or musical fragments to explore how you can create music that conveys many different emotions. How many of you have ever felt this emotion? Angry! All right, let's hear what angry sounds like.
This is really cool because, look, you've got a gym full of kids, they're all up there, and the orchestra has their undivided attention. That's hard to do.
The shy ones still engage. Seems to help the shy ones come out. And the ones that aren't shy are just fabulous.
They just have a ball.
So much fun. Yeah, they're having a great time.
What does music do for the soul?
What is it? I don't know how to put it into words.
I feel like very calm, very excited, very happy and stuff.
What were your emotions that you asked for?
Happy, dramatic, and excited.
How did I know you would pick dramatic?
Why'd you choose this?
Sometimes I feel happy, sometimes I feel dramatic, sometimes I feel excited to come here.
We do 4.
Oh, we can do 4.
Is that too much? What do we want? What's the first one?
Happy.
Happy?
Goofy.
Goofy. Dramatic. Angry. We're going to end on angry.
Is it a solution to some of the things they're dealing with?
I think it's the beginning of a solution. I think that if you look at our families, our parents who have to take their students to all these different therapies, speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, music therapy is something that you can engage in.
Your chin is down, but your eyes are forward. Breathing in and sing do.
Do, re, mi.
Some of these kids really break out of their shell.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Let's go.
Do, re,
Is that all you got?
mi, fa,
sol, la. Come on. Ti, do. Okay, not too shabby.
Still ahead on Solutionaries, treating diseases in ways we never knew were possible.
So we've had stroke patients coming in wheelchairs and being able to walk with a cane. People regaining function of their limbs, people getting part of their speech back. And it's all about healing that tissue and growing new cells around it.
Meet the Florida doctor treating patients with pressurized oxygen with surprising results. But first, healing the symptoms of PTSD by saddling up. Stay with us as we explore more life-saving solutions. Welcome back to Solutionaries, a show where we look at life's biggest problems and bring you the people working to solve them. Today, therapies that work when mainstream medicine does not. Before the break, we showed you how music is helping kids on the autism spectrum use their voices to learn and communicate. When it comes to treating symptoms of PTSD, some veterans are reclaiming happiness in the saddle.
I was in the United States Navy. I was a Navy corpsman with 3rd Marines out of Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii. I did my tour to Afghanistan in 2007, 2008 to the Peshawar Valley and the Korangal Valley. And you have to finish the mission, and that mission is getting home.
The mission was complete, and Holbrook was home, but his trauma followed him.
PTSD will do to some veterans, myself, what it did to me was made me want to isolate and say no to everything, because I was in my bubble, I was in my comfort zone, and I didn't want to say yes to anything. So with Samplify and the America's Fund, is what they did was found something that veterans can use to help come back as a group, come back and be around like-minded veterans.
Colonel John Mayer tells me the impact the program has had.
This really is designed to rejuvenate the spirit. A guy gets wounded critically or is injured or has a critical illness, you want to be able to get that spirit back and show them that they still, no matter what their disability is, they still got ability. This program's very unique in that it takes them out to big ranches out west and they work in support of the rancher as a team, accomplishing a mission for the rancher. And usually it's something like moving cattle into a national forest permit or bringing them out, helping gather and brand their calves every year. And what they're doing now is sorting the cattle for marketing and shipping.
I decided to give it a try. I'll be honest, this rookie was pretty nervous, but with some encouragement and trust, I was in control.
The horse doesn't care about your past. It doesn't care if you've been blown up. It doesn't care that you're missing an arm or a leg. It doesn't care where you're going. What it cares about is right now, and that's the beauty of horses.
I met Richard Carson, a former U.S. Army line medic. He was seriously injured in Afghanistan back in 2010 and eventually learned to walk again using a cane. But in 2017, a terrible car crash left him paralyzed.
It was very difficult. I really had no interest in doing a lot of things. Liked to drink a lot. Didn't really want to go out anywhere or do anything.
This was his first time on the ranch and his first time getting back on a horse.
I've been trying to get back on a horse since the day I broke my neck. I had my own horses beforehand. All I did was ride horses and work, and so for me it was the opportunity to come out here. I didn't know if it was going to work very good or not, but I was like, at least I can try and see where it goes.
He did not know any of the other veterans, but placed his trust in them as he was lifted from his chair and safely saddled back into a familiar feeling.
It was amazing. It was freeing. It gets me out of the chair doing something. It's getting back to something that I love doing that helped me deal a lot with my PTSD.
Carson tells me the real healing begins when you say yes.
It doesn't matter what your disability is. If you're interested in something, there's a way to try it. It might not be the same as what you're used to in the past, but there's still a way to participate in that activity and to enjoy it.
Equine therapy is available all over the country, not just in Texas. And while it has many benefits, there is no definitive cure for PTSD. But what if we could heal the part of the brain that's traumatized? Solutionaries producer Contrita Scales found a Florida doctor using pressurized oxygen to grow new cells with amazing results.
Imagine you're diving deep down into the ocean. You feel pressure building up in your ears, then you hear a pop, and your ears equalize. It's an essential skill for any scuba diver, or else they could get decompression sickness or the bends, a potentially deadly scenario. And there's only one way to treat it: hyperbaric oxygen. But it turns out this concentrated pressurized oxygen may have benefits that go far beyond curing divers and pilots from the bends. Clinical researchers have discovered just in the last few years that putting someone in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber can actually heal traumatic brain injuries by regrowing stem cells. In fact, it's now being used to treat things like skin infections, long COVID, and even post-traumatic stress disorder. Here's a veteran talking about how hyperbaric oxygen therapy changed her life.
After 13 years of combat, I was told it was PMS. We moved to the villages and there was an ad in the paper one day for Aviv taking veterans. They had here said, look, it is in your head. And so it wasn't PMS. All the tools the doctors had couldn't fix this. All the pills that they gave me couldn't fix this. But oxygen under pressure did.
It almost seemed too good to be true. So I found the doctor in the villages providing this therapy. His name is Dr. Mohammed El Amir, or Dr. Mo.
I'm one of the lead physicians here at the Aviv clinics here in Central Florida.
Hyperbaric oxygen therapy has been around for hundreds of years, but he told me Aviv Clinics does it differently.
Most hyperbaric chambers are mono chambers, single occupant and lying down in a horizontal tube. The other type of hyperbaric is a multi-place chamber, and that is basically like walking in a large airline cabin where you can walk in, I'm 6'3" and I have plenty of headroom. The chairs are nice and wide, almost like a first-class seat. And our multi-place chambers can hold up to 14 people inside each one. And we have 4 of those in our clinic.
Yeah, it almost looks like you're sitting in like a waiting room at a doctor's office, but everyone just happens to be wearing masks. So explain to me, what does this pressurized oxygen do to the brain?
What hyperbaric oxygen does is delivers 100% oxygen at a higher concentration to different parts of the brain. So when you go inside a hyperbaric chamber, you can now deliver oxygen more efficiently and at a higher amount to help heal those cells. What we also do specifically with our treatment is we fluctuate these oxygen levels, and that fluctuation addresses those other 2 components of brain injury. In 2019, the Nobel Prize was awarded for a molecule that gets released with this fluctuation protocol, and this molecule stimulates new cell growth. We were taught in medical school that you couldn't grow new cells in the brain, but that's not true. You actually can, and we have ways to show you and prove it, as well as actually do it.
For Dr. Mo, this medical breakthrough is personal. His late father, neurologist Dr. Magdi Elamir, suffered a stroke, robbing him of his speech.
Watching that process, losing the ability to communicate is a devastating thing. It's almost, some would argue, worse than losing function of a limb.
It sent Dr. Mo down a path in search of other ways to help people like his dad.
Eventually, that led us to finding Dr. Shai Efrati's research and joining the team here to use hyperbaric oxygen to actually heal the injured cells of the brain. Unfortunately, he passed before I could get him through the treatment, but his experience led me to the research and led me to joining the team here. So we've had stroke patients coming in wheelchairs and being able to walk with a cane, people regaining function of their limbs, people getting part of their speech back. And it's all about healing that tissue and growing new cells around it.
So what does the research say about the effectiveness for treating PTSD?
When we used to say PTSD, it was always just thought of as a psychological disease after trauma. But in fact, PTSD and trauma from anything, not just war, causes changes to the brain. There are different physiologic changes metabolically and structurally in the brain that happens as a result of that trauma. And that trauma doesn't have to be a physical blow to the head. It could be just witnessing something traumatic. And that over time changes the brain. And if you identify that injured tissue in the brain and you heal it, you are now treating the cause of somebody's PTSD. You're not just giving a medication for a symptom. When we had our veterans come through, they went through our assessment, and we saw in our specialized scans the destruction and changes in different parts of their brain. We got them through the hyperbaric treatment, healed that wound in the brain, and that led it to the improvement of their PTSD, to the point where most of them no longer met the criteria for PTSD after they finished the program.
Okay, so it sounds straightforward and promising, but is this a solution for everyone? First, what are the limitations of hyperbaric oxygen therapy?
Our assessment before somebody starts treatment is essential. Some conditions right off the bat that might disqualify somebody from going in. If you've had a collapsing of your lung, that can be a problem in a high pressure situation. There is a lot of research with cancer and using hyperbarics for cancer treatment, but right now, if you have an active solid tumor or solid cancer in your body, the last thing we want to do is grow new cells and new blood vessels into that cancer to help it grow. So that might prevent somebody from doing the treatment. One important thing, if you're a scuba diver, when you dive, you have to equalize and pop your ears. Well, you actually go for a dive whenever you go into a hyperbaric chamber. And as we build the pressure up, you have to be able to equalize your ears. And if you can't, or if you have some structural issue with the ears, that might prevent you from doing the treatment.
Second, healthcare is expensive. Who can afford this kind of treatment?
Like every new treatment, at the beginning, it's going to be costly to a point, but we have different programs. We're working with different organizations, like you mentioned, the American Mighty Warriors, to help our veterans. And we have our own Aviv Cares program for people that can't quite meet some of the financial requirements. They can actually get the treatment for a reduced cost.
So far, the Food and Drug Administration has only approved hyperbaric oxygen therapy for certain conditions. So it's important to talk to your healthcare provider before undergoing any treatment.
The philosophy here is we are treating the causes of people's conditions. We're not just giving a medication or putting a Band-Aid on it. And if you address the cause, if you address prevention, that is the best thing you can do for yourself.
Solutionaries is just getting started. We have covered dozens of topics on News 6 Plus. Just download the app on your smart TV, select Solutionaries, and keep watching. Check out this episode about the cost of owning a pet and learn how food deserts and food swamps impact how much you spend on groceries. I'm your host, Louis Bolden. Thanks for watching.